Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the August 2019 edition of the St. Lawrence County Chamber's Lunch and Learn webinar series. My name is Mike Bisa, the Assistant Director at the St. Lawrence County Chamber, and your host for today's webinar. This series is made possible by the generous support of Clarkson University and St. Lawrence University. Both are sponsoring this educational series. Before I introduce our presenter today, I want to run through a few quick items. First, your mics have been muted and your webcams have been disabled. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to type them into the chat window and we'll do our best to answer them throughout the presentation. Please note that this session is being recorded and will be available online through our member center at slcchamber.org soon after the webinar. We keep the webinars to under an hour so you can get back to work. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter today, Melanie McGovern, Communications Director for the Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York. Melanie began a career in radio news, working as a reporter/anchor at stations in Illinois, Columbus, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York. After her award-winning journalism career, she spent several years working in governmental communications for the New York State Legislature and the City of Buffalo's Economic Development and Planning offices. After public and community relations jobs in the nonprofit and private sectors, she came to the Better Business Bureau in 2014, serving as chief spokesperson and manages all of BBB's media relations, community partner program, marketing functions, in digital marketing and communications. So today, Melanie will dive into your online reputation and steps you can take to manage it, including how to answer good and bad reviews. So Melanie, the floor is yours. I'll turn it over.
All right. What do I need to do to get to my screen again? Screen 2. There we go.
There you go.
Should be. Do you see it?
We're good.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'm going to just dive right into the slides here. There we go. I just want to go over some of the goals for today's webinar. We are going to talk about Better Business Bureau just a little bit. We don't have an office in your area, but we are serving your area just as we serve the 48 counties of upstate New York. We're going to talk briefly about reputation management, what it is, and why you need to care. We're going to talk about your online presence, where you are online, what you're doing, what social media you use, is your website up to date, those types of things. As Mike mentioned, we're going to talk about customer reviews, why you should answer them, good or bad, why you need to monitor them all over the web, no matter where you think they are. There could be some floating out there that you don't know about. We're going to talk about how you can build trust in your business. And I just wanted to pop this picture up from the event a few weeks ago. So that's me and that's Mike. We're your hosts for today. It was a great event. I got to meet a lot of people. So hopefully some of them are on this webinar that we can talk a little bit more because they were asking me about Facebook and customer reviews and you know, the BBB profile that their business might have that they didn't know about. So we'll get into a few of those things as we go along. So this is our service area. We are in the blue. Our office is in Erie County in Buffalo. However, we can be anywhere in New York State in under 5 hours if I can speed. So again, I was in the area a few weeks ago. We're coming back in October to do some senior presentations and just participate in chamber events. So we could get a sense of the community and just let everybody know we're there for them. This is our website, which is bbb.org. The biggest things that people look for when they come to BBB, unfortunately, is to file a complaint. Everybody knows you can complain to the Better Business Bureau. We act as the neutral third party to resolve disputes between consumers and businesses. But we also have our online directory. So if somebody's searching for your business, they up in the top corner, you see the little globe. When I took this screenshot, I was in my office, which is in Gettsville, New York. So it knows where I am. So if I type in plumber near Gettsville, a list of plumbers will pop up. But also BBB does customer reviews. We've been doing them for about 5 years now. So those are the two things that when we redesigned the website, the biggest thing people asked us about on the phones. How do I file a complaint and where do I file a review? So that's why that's very prominent on there. And there's also a link up at the top for our scam tracker, but we're not going to really talk about that, but just, if you have time to look at it on our website, it's a wonderful tool. These are a couple of the other services that we provide to the public. Advertising review. So if you see an ad on social media, if you're looking at a website and you think that they're embellishing a little too much about their services or their prices, we provide advertising review services for free to the public. If somebody says, well, we're the best in St. Lawrence County, do you have an award to prove that? So, we just want to keep advertising fair, and that's how BBB started in 1912 as a fair advertising organization that made sure people weren't claiming their products were miracle cures when they weren't. That's a screen pic of our scam tracker. We are well over 100,000 scams reported. It's all crowdsourced. We confirm every scam before it's published. So if you click on your area, you'll see the scams that are trending in your area. We have an investigations team that looks into substandard business practices. If we see what we call a pattern of complaint, if there's a company that gets 3 or 4 complaints in a short amount of time, that opens our investigation process so we can get the information out to the public that if there's a company that's not doing right by its customers or packs up in the middle of the night and runs away, we'll have that information. We also review charities. Charities are reviewed a little differently than businesses. They have 20 standards. Businesses have 13 factors. Businesses do pay for their accreditation, which in turn provides us the opportunity to do webinars, to do senior events, to be out in the community. The charities do not pay for their accreditation. And again, dispute resolution services. I have a complaint, I'm going to the Better Business Bureau. That's what that is. But we're here to talk about reputation management. And this is a quote that I've been using forever because it's so true. It takes 20 years to build your reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. We've seen it happen where, somebody says one thing and the media picks it up and their business is ruined or they're not there anymore. I always use the example of the dentist in Minneapolis who shot Cecil the lion. We had to take down his business profile because so many people are trying to file complaints against him, even though they weren't they weren't his patient. But yeah, anything you do, anything out in public, anywhere you go, if you are the face of your business or if you're using your business name, people are going to know that. So again, we want to talk briefly about reputation management today, what it means to small businesses, why it's so important. 76% of people plan to spend more time on online reputation management in the next 12 months. People are really starting to pay attention to that. They're working on their social media, they're updating their website, they're making sure their Google My Business profile is accurate. 95% of searches start on a mobile phone, so they're making sure that the website's updated for mobile. Because this is the day and age where people are going to their phone first to search for businesses as opposed to asking their neighbor, hey, who did your driveway? So, a positive online reputation helps customers trust businesses, converts searchers into leads, and could help boost your local search rankings. So we always tell people, make sure you keep your website up to date. That is the biggest thing. I've given this presentation for about 4 years now, and I was giving it to another chamber, and I asked the room, because it was in person, I asked the room, I said, when was the last time you updated your website? And someone said 2009. You've got to keep it updated because Google will constantly re-index your website. So if they see that old content, they're going to keep pushing it down farther in the search. So you definitely want to keep your website updated. If you have contact me forms on your website, make sure you're responding to those people. And again, it's the portal to your business. So you want your website, your Facebook page to look its best. And we talk about fake reviews and we talk about people who are, again, trying to file reviews and complaints about somebody they'd never seen, but they saw a news story. So there's a lot of people, and I've had people come up to us at chamber events. I have this horrible Google review and this person was never a customer. So, the biggest the biggest problem that companies are running into is they're removing the fake reviews or proving that the review wasn't true. 58% of businesses have negative or positive fake reviews. We have reviews on BBB's Google My Business page that are about some of the companies that are members of ours, or people complaining about bad companies in their area, and they think they're complaining to us, but what they're really doing is reducing our star rating on Google. And it's tough, and we'll talk about that later in the presentation. But there are ways to remove them, but it takes a long time. And sometimes Google will say, we can't remove this. The other review sites, not really familiar with their policies. But again, and every time somebody has a question about some of them, I tell them to just check them out on bbb.org to see, what their reputation is through our website. Businesses are being held back from managing their reputations because of time and budget constraints. That's one of the biggest things I hear from the small businesses. It's just me and my wife. My son manages my website. I'm too busy running my business to do this. But we always tell people a lot of these tools are free. You don't need to be a BBB accredited business to have a BBB business profile. That is free to all businesses. The Google My Business profile, the first thing that pops up when people search your business online. There's a lot of places that you can have a free profile, Facebook is free, unless you boost your post or buy advertising, Facebook is free. But there's a lot of things that people can do that are free, that don't really take that much time. I mean, in terms of social media, if you just post one thing, it takes a couple of minutes, and then you have engagement coming through Facebook. Lots of things like that. 44% of respondents currently use online reputation management software to monitor, generate, or respond to reviews. There's a website called freereviewmonitoring.com that we use here at Better Business Bureau that's very good. It will crawl the web for mentions of your company. Again, it's freereviewmonitoring.com. I think I took it out of this slide. I did. So I will get that information to Mike and he can pass it along to everybody. But it's another free tool that you can use. You can set up Google alerts with your company name in them that will search the web for any kind of negative reviews or positive reviews as well. So there's a company called Bright Local, and every year they do surveys about customer reviews. This is the first year they've done an online reputation management survey. And the information is great. And I just wanted to share a couple of quick slides of the data. Why reputation management? It's the top 6 reasons. It makes potential customers trust us, helps convert searches into leads, boosts ranking in local search results, makes them stand out from the competition, enhances the status in the local community, generates more clicks and calls, unless people have like a call to action campaign, or they're asking people to fill out forms. I don't know necessarily if that would translate for every company, but those are the top 6 reasons why it's important to have that positive online reputation and to work on it all the time. I don't know if everybody remembers the old commercial, set it and forget it. This is not set it and forget it. This is something that you need to look at least minimum once a week, but possibly every day. The biggest thing with the reputation management is making sure you're taking care of your customers. They are your biggest sounding boards. I don't know about everybody else, but every time I log into Facebook, can somebody recommend a new salon? Can someone recommend a concrete guy? So, if you have a customer who's happy with your business, they're more likely to recommend that to you. They're more likely to come back to you. My husband and I live in a very old neighborhood, and we ended up finding a plumber on bbb.org that we really love. And my neighbor came over and said, "Hey, who's your plumber?" I'm like, "Oh, here's his card." I said, "But check him out on BBB, check out his reviews, but he's done a really good job for us." And we became repeat customers. And then that statement, the cost to retain a happy customer is less than finding a new one. Absolutely. It's better to keep your customers happy than it is to have to do an advertising campaign or do targeted social media to try to find more customers. Food for thought. This is some eye-opening statistics, and a lot of these have just been updated by a site called Brandwatch. 4.2 billion with a B people use the internet. 92% of consumers read online reviews. That number has been climbing, and we'll get into the customer review stats in a few minutes. But you know, people who years ago, oh, well, I don't care about their opinion. Why would I care about a stranger's opinion? Now read customer reviews. 2.3 billion people use Facebook every month. You know, it's funny, people always joke, especially people under 25, oh, Facebook's for dinosaurs, oh, I'm not on Facebook. But you know what, everybody else is. So again, if you want to target a lot of people, Facebook is the place to be. A consumer will look at over 10 information sources before making a purchase. So think about that. They're gonna search the web, they're gonna go to social media, they're gonna read reviews. There's a bunch of places that people will go to make sure that if they're gonna make a purchase, that it's the right purchase for them, and they're reading people's experiences with that purchase. This one though is really interesting because every time I do this presentation, I get one person who says, well, my company doesn't need social media. The average time spent on social media is 116 minutes a day, and that's across all demographics. So that's almost 2 hours that people are spending on social media every day. So again, when coming back to reputation management, coming back to, you know, how are you presenting your business? That's important to know, that it's not just, you know, is it the younger generation? Is it the older generation? It's everybody is on social media for 116 minutes a day. This is just, it's huge. 75% of consumers admit they judge a business's credibility based on their website design. So, you know, when that person was saying, oh yeah, we haven't updated our website since 2009, I just couldn't help but think to myself, oh my God. But again, you know, they go to the search, they see your Google My Business reviews, they click on your website, and if your website isn't updated, if it looks dated, if you have any kind of old information on there, one of the things that I make sure we do here is if we have an event on our website, the day of that event, I have a mark on my calendar to take it off, because that's the last thing you want people to see is old information, because then they're like, well, if they can't sweat the details on their website, are they going to sweat the details when it comes to my business? So it's always just number one, keep your website updated. And if you don't have a website, there are so many programs you can use. There's so many companies out there that will build you like a quick 3-page website. People look for that stuff. Oh, you know, and a lot of people say, I'll use Facebook for my website. That's great, but you do want that extra level of credibility by having your own independent website. I know a lot of people probably don't do this. Google your company. You really want to take a look at, you know, we've had companies where people have put up imposter Facebook pages for their business. There was a restaurant in Albany that happened to. You really just want to make sure that you can see what's out there when it comes to your company. You want to see if there's any reviews that have been published. Again, you can set up Google alerts. I have like 7 of them set up for BBB, just so I can keep an eye on what's going on out there with us. A couple weeks ago, I Googled my own name, and the first thing that popped up was my wedding announcement. I've been married for 5 years. So it's interesting what pops up. But you definitely want to Google your company to make sure that you don't see something like this. I love this graphic. Because if people aren't keeping tabs on what's going on online, you know, that could happen. All right. And we've talked about a lot of these things, but I'm going to leave these slides up and just kind of go through each of them just so everybody can get like a quick screenshot or write it down. Again, keep your social media up to date. If you're searching for a company and you see they haven't posted anything on Facebook since 2013, it's a sign that, you know, maybe they don't care, or maybe, oh, maybe they're too busy, but just something to keep it up to date, even if you just update your profile picture. Or, you know, you're asking your customers for feedback. You know, we always encourage BBB accredited businesses, you know, ask for customer reviews on your Facebook page, do things like that. So there's a lot of ways to keep your social media up to date. Engage with your customers and potential customers. Again, great way to do that is through social media or through your website. Responding to all reviews, good and bad. We had a wonderful review about we had a consumer whose complaint was resolved. She took the time to go to Google to write the review, and I just responded with, "Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Great to hear." So you want to respond to all reviews, good and bad, because you want to acknowledge that that person took the time to write that review. You want to be able to take the time to say thank you. When it comes to responding to bad reviews, I always tell people the best way to respond is, "I'm sorry that this happened. Give me a call. Let's work it out. Sign your name. Don't engage online because it can go down a weird rabbit hole that you don't want to go down." Or, you could maybe say the wrong thing in the heat of the moment. So the best way to respond to a negative review is to ask them to take it offline, give them your phone number, ask them to pop into your business, and then go from there. Update all directory listings and get listed on directories where you have no listing. I'm talking about the yellow page sites, any of those types of directory listings. A lot of those are auto-generated, so you want to make sure that they have your hours of operation, your phone number, your address, the name of your company right. I can't tell you how many times I've seen BBB of Western New York when we're upstate New York. So you want to just go through all those directory listings and make sure that you are updated and that people have the right information, because sometimes people will go to one of those directories to look for your company. We just talked about it, monitoring yourself, making sure that you have a Google alert set up, freereviewmonitoring.com, to make sure that you're picking up all of that activity that could be online that you might be missing. This one's big. Responding to voicemails, emails, and contact forms. A lot of websites have like the contact me forms, and I do in marketing what we call A/B testing. Whenever I need to hire somebody for my home, I will fill out the contact form, and a lot of times I don't get a response. So then I reach out to the business and say, "Hey, if you guys are going to have this, you might want to, respond." So it's so important. And again, if somebody's calling your company to get like hours of operation or to ask a question, and they get a voicemail and the voicemail box is full, they're not going to call you back. So make sure you clean that out and respond to any emails with any inquiries about your business. Again, monitor your website, social media, and any other places for daily comments or reviews. Become an expert. One of the biggest things that small businesses can do is push out expert advice on your social media. So if you're a gardener and it's time for people to start mulching, maybe write a little article or shoot a quick video on your phone. Everybody's got iPhones or Android phones. Shoot a quick video on your phone of, "Hey, this is how much mulch you should put down." Become that expert. Interact with people. Do top 10 lists. I love top 10 lists. I have such a zero attention span. So, become an expert in your field and really like flaunt it on your social media or your website. If you have a spot on your website where you can write a little blog, that's always awesome to do. And then you can share that on social media. There's a lot of things people can do to become an expert. And, I always, I have a lot of friends who are reporters. That was my background. And I tell them, I said, if you're ever looking for people, just go scrolling through Facebook and type in whatever type of business you're looking for. And you can see if there's like people who, are really active and they're experts, because that's the type of people that do get called for media interviews, do become experts. So that's always good to do as well. Get involved with the community, outside activities. First step you're a chamber member, that's wonderful, but make sure you're going to events, that you're participating in any kind of activities in the community. Last night was National Night Out. BBB was there. We were handing out Frisbees down in one of the suburbs of Buffalo. So yeah, anytime you can get involved with the community, chamber, any of those organizations, it's great, and it really improves your the people. Oh yeah, I saw them at this event. Oh yeah, that business, I remember them. And number 10, always think before acting. Some people do get angry when they see a negative review about their company, or if it's not true, or if they know that person has sour grapes. But before you write the most scathing response, just say, "I see your message. Let's talk about it. Here's our number. Give me a call." Because again, you could have second thoughts a couple hours later, delete all of that, but you never know who's taken a screenshot or who saw it before it got taken down. So again, always take that step back, think about what you want to say, and then just ask the person to call you so there's no evidence of it online.
Melanie, this brings up a good point that I remember. I was speaking with a business about their listings, and they do not claim their listings on TripAdvisor or Google so that they do not solicit bad reviews. Can you talk about the problem with not claiming your listing on these sites?
You definitely want to claim your listing so that you know whatever information they're putting out about you is accurate. I'm not sure how TripAdvisor works, but on Google, we do work with Google as a partner to make sure that our businesses are updating their information. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important that they have, the right information about your business and that they can verify that it is your business, or else it's just kind of like a free-for-all.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good question. And we were just talking about the directories. And again, a lot of that information, if people are searching for your business on these directories, they'll just create a listing for you. Here, what we do is we reach out to the company and have them fill out what we call our standard business questionnaire. Because if we don't have any information, we'll put a rating of what we call NR, which means not rated, because we don't have any information. So we always tell people to, check BBB. And if you see your business on there, give us a call and we can update all your information for you, because it's so important to do that. But there are 5 directories where businesses should be listed online, according to another great blog called DriveHive. Obviously, Google My Business. Google Maps is another one, because people will go to Google Maps and search for, they'll just say restaurants near me. And if you're not on Google Maps and you're a restaurant, you're not going to get found there. Facebook is another directory where, Facebook's becoming more of a directory. So you definitely want your business on Facebook. Yelp is another place that you should go in and make sure that you are updated and that you claim your listing. And the other one is bbb.org, because people do come to us all the time looking for information on local businesses. So it's very important to make sure that you have that updated business listing. And if you need help with that, anybody can give me a call or shoot me an email. Mike's got my contact information. I'd love to get everybody listed. And again, it doesn't cost anything to be listed on BBB's website. We talked about social media. The red is daily. The percentage of people using social media daily in the United States, 74% of people surveyed use Facebook daily. Snapchat, 63%. Instagram, 60%. YouTube, 45%. YouTube is the 3rd largest search engine on the internet, next to Google and Facebook. So it's, definitely, YouTube is definitely a place where people are. And then Twitter at 46%. So there are people who are constantly on social media. They're using it for everything. So again, it's always so important to make sure your social media is up to date and that you're putting out really, really great content. 10% of people say they use Facebook less often. Yeah, again, it's here to stay. It's a great resource. If you know how to use it, it's where most businesses really do need to be. Mike and I were talking about this yesterday. We're getting ready for the webinar. It's just insane. Like, customer reviews have just exploded in the last couple of years. So why do people read reviews? They offer valuable guidance from people who've used the service or a product. In some cases, it makes it easier for shoppers to make a decision. Attest to a company's reliability. I had a great experience with XYZ. The person at the counter was really nice to me. Things like that. Indicates what's the best and worst that could happen, which is, we always say if a company has complaints with BBB, a complaint isn't a bad thing. You can read the complaint. I hired this person to do XYZ and they didn't do it. And then you read the response, and then you read the response, and you read the response, and the complaint ends up resolved. We always tell people that's a great way to show that if something goes wrong, you're going to make it right. So there's the reliability and the best and worst that could happen. And again, not all customer complaints are valid. We've had situations where that wasn't necessarily the case. So again, it's always good to see the best and the worst sides of everything. And then it gives consumers an insight about product quality. I always joke with people, like, I won't buy clothes online unless there's at least 3 reviews, so I can see the best and the worst that could happen with a piece of clothing or some makeup or things like I'm a girl, I shop online. So you really want to see all that stuff. So that's why reviews are so important. And as consumers, we're all consumers. If we have that experience, we should leave it. And as business people, we want to see it, because if there's, a bunch of reviews about, hey, look at how great we are, you want to share those on social media. So there's a lot of great things that can come out of customer reviews. We talked about the trust of the customer reviews. 86% of consumers read a review for a local business, and this is from 2018. 95% of those were from the age of 18 to 34. Consumers read an average of 10 online reviews before feeling able to trust a local business. That's very interesting because, again, we always tell our businesses that don't have any reviews, go start asking for them so people can get a sense of who you are and what you do. 40% of consumers only take into account reviews written in the past 2 weeks. That's really interesting as well, because we keep our data at the Better Business Bureau for 3 years. Once, let's say somebody had a complaint on, what's today, August 9th, 2016, tomorrow that complaint will no longer be on their record because, again, things change, people change, personnel changes. But when people are looking at online reviews, usually the ones that pop up are the ones that are a couple of weeks old, a couple of months old. So that's why we always encourage people to ask for the customer reviews, because the fresher they are, the more likely they're going to be read. 57% of consumers will only use a business if it has 4 or more stars. That's very interesting. We do star ratings here, and I think we weigh them the same as every other business does. So, yeah, I mean, not everybody's perfect. So 4 stars is pretty average. 3.5 stars is pretty average as well. So, you just always want to take that into account. 80% of 18 to 34-year-olds have written online reviews, compared to just 41% of consumers who are over the age of 55. So again, there's the audience. Those are the folks who are writing the reviews. So we're always trying to push out the importance of reviews and having just every demographic and generation filing them. 91% of 18 to 34-year-old consumers trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. Which is interesting, because I always tell my friends whenever I see them posting on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for a new car dealer, or hey, I'm looking for this. I always tell them, take your list that you got from everybody, go over to bbb.org and look everybody up, or go to Google, or go to another review site. I said, it's great to have those personal recommendations, but you really want to make sure that you know what you're getting into, because somebody could do a great job for your friend and not do a great job for you. So you want to see both sides again. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You want to see what the best and the worst that could happen is. 89% of consumers read a business's response to reviews, which is so huge. And again, it's like reading the response to the complaint. They want to know how you're going to, if it's a bad review, make it right. Or if it's a good review, how you're going to respond. So again, everybody should just, after this, go Google yourself, find your reviews, and just write thank yous to people, because it's really what people are looking for. They want to make sure that you're going to take care of them, especially if you're a company with like a big ticket item, or a company where you're looking for that repeat customer. You definitely want to take the time to respond to those reviews. This slide was really interesting to me because I've been doing this presentation again for 4 years, and this number keeps shrinking. Do you read online reviews for businesses? 14% of the people surveyed said no, never. That used to be in the 20% range. It used to be in the 30% range. Now it's down to 14%. So everybody is out there reading reviews. When searching for a local business, do you read businesses' response to the reviews? 11% said no. So there's the 11% out of the 89 who do read. So again, it's really important to respond to those reviews. Customers look for reviews of local businesses. This number has gone up slightly. Positive reviews make me more likely to use a business, 68%. That was the same as 2017. It's gone up from like 62% in 2016. So it's going up because people are, again, pulling out their phone, typing in a business name, typing in a type of business, and then they're investigating by reading those reviews. Negative reviews make me not want to use a business. 40% is not terrible. I'm looking for that number to maybe go down, but again, I tend to select businesses based on other factors such as location and price, 36%. I read reviews, but they don't influence my decision, 15 and 19. I think that, it's safe to say that reviews are influencing people's decisions on businesses. So I think that that'll be something that will constantly trend upward. Use your customers as your marketing team. Ask for testimonials, referrals, and online reviews. Happy customers are more likely to write positive reviews, so always ask them. And you want to strike when the iron is hot. Like if you're chit-chatting with somebody in your store, if you're chit-chatting with somebody on the phone, and you say, hey, do you have a couple minutes to write a positive review? This is such a great conversation. I really love what you're saying. You really pump up that customer. They're more likely to write that positive review for you. You want to always say thank you. And then, stay in touch with your customers if it's email, postcards, or whatever, but you definitely don't want to overload them with emails or they're probably going to unsubscribe. I go through those phases with my personal email where I'm like, oh my God, another email from XYZ. Then I unsubscribe, and then a couple weeks later, I'm like, oh, I haven't heard from them. So, you want to make sure that you're getting that information to your customers, but you don't want to overload them with stuff. And then we're really going to quickly just talk about trust marks. A trust mark is a form of communication between consumers and businesses to help bridge the information gap about the trustworthiness. Trust marks are commonly found online. So when you're looking at a website, you'll see all of these security type, authorized.net, verified, TrustWave, that your McAfee, that your website's secure, that it's PayPal verified. Because what we see with like online scams is I paid through PayPal and I never got the money, or the website wasn't secure and my information got out there. So those are just some examples of trust marks. The BBB accredited business seal is a trust mark that 90% of consumers recognize. So again, if your business is a BBB accredited business, people do look for that and they do click to our website to see what's going on with your company. Other trust marks, your chamber membership. I love when I go to a website for one of our accredited businesses and I see that they're a member of a chamber. It's just a really good way to show people that you support your local community. So I always encourage our businesses to put any chamber affiliation, any professional organization that they may be affiliated with. So let's say it's, if it's a contractor, if they're part of the Northern New York Builders Exchange and the chamber, they need to put that all on there. Any professional licenses or certifications that you may have or your staff may have, those are always great to put up there. The testimonials from real customers. We were joking yesterday about this. There was a bad website that we had found through our scam tracker. And I looked at the person's photo and I'm like, I've seen that guy before. And I Google image searched him and he was like, he was a review on like 17 different websites. It was just a stock photo. So again, you want to make sure your customer reviews are real. The biggest two things though on, that we call trust marks here at BBB, you want comprehensive contact information on your website, a phone number and an email. If you work out of your house, don't put your address there, but just make sure that people have a way to reach you. If you do have a brick and mortar location, you want to put that address on there. And if you collect any kind of information on your website, say email addresses or credit cards, if you have an online store, you want to make sure your privacy policies are up to date. You want to make sure that, when a consumer's on your website, that they feel good about giving you that information, that you're not going to sell it to a third party. So it's always important to put a privacy policy on your website as well. We have examples of some here. If anybody needs one, they can reach out and we can get it to you as an example. I wouldn't use it word for word, but just, it outlines what you can put into a privacy policy. So the key takeaways: Keep your website, social media, and directory listings updated. Manage your message. Post awesome content that your customers will want to read and share. Ask for the reviews and testimonials. I can't emphasize it enough. You have to ask because people need that motivation. Treat all reviews the same, whether they're positive or negative. Don't forget to respond to those reviews. Use your professional affiliations as trust marks for your company, and always be transparent. Don't, if somebody's writing a negative review and you don't respond and then you take your website down, you always, you don't want to do anything like that. That's an extreme example. But again, if there's an issue with a product, I'm sorry you have a problem with this product, we're going to look into it. Meantime, give us a call and we can figure out what we can do for you. Or you could respond back with, we spoke on the phone and we're going to give you a full refund. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. So that, again, people can see that type of stuff. But you don't want to get involved with the he said, she said back and forth that sometimes can happen on a review. I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time, but if anybody has any questions, that email goes right to my inbox, so I will see it. If you want to check bbb.org to see if your business is located, just go to bbb.org and type in your company name. If you don't see it, let me know, and we can work on getting you a standard business questionnaire so you can fill that out and get a listing on bbb.org. Mike, do we have any questions?
Thanks, Melanie. I'll just give everyone a moment to see if they can post them, but right now we don't. Do you have a moment to just dive into, you mentioned it a little bit about answering bad reviews and the best strategy for answering those?
It's definitely to try to take it offline, to ask them to call you, to maybe outline, like maybe if you're a retail store, maybe outline your return policy. But always be willing to work with the person, even if it's not a customer. If it's just somebody randomly writing negative reviews, just say, I'm sorry sorry you feel that way. If you want to talk more, give us a call at the office or the store or whatever. It's you can't just not answer it, but you definitely want to show that you're willing to work with the person to resolve whatever their issue is.
Okay, that's helpful. I haven't received any questions yet, so I will just speak about a few key takeaways that I took from the webinar today. The first was freereviewmonitoring.com. That searches the web for reviews, and you should set Google alerts so you can see your reviews.
Yep.
Reputation matters for your trust in the community, converting those search results to leads, to boost your rankings, and to stand out from your competition. You should think before acting on bad reviews, as Melanie just suggested, taking them offline, but be sure to address them. And making sure your business is listed on Google My Business, Google Maps, Facebook, Yelp, and the Better Business Bureau. And we did just receive a question. So, would you offer an incentive to gain reviews as a thank you?
Actually, you're not supposed to do that, because that's technically like you're paying for a review. We encourage our businesses to not do that. Like, if you want to offer a percentage off on a product, there's something in New York law that doesn't allow that. I will have to look into that, but I think that's a no-no, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
You're not, we always tell people you shouldn't pay people for reviews or offer them an incentive. We'll give you 25% off if you write a positive review, because anybody could write that review, and we want authentic reviews from real customers.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think you have to write a disclaimer, like this person was given something for the review. So you definitely want to maybe avoid that. But I'll have to look into that, because I think there is something that says you can't do that.
What's the best strategy to solicit reviews? I mean, in a legal manner, like you talked about striking when the iron's hot. Is that, at the time of purchase?
Yeah, I mean, we have an app for our businesses that they can text their customer a link to file the review, or even if you have like a little card somewhere, like if you have a store, or if you're out in the community talking to people, maybe give them like a little card. You can get them printed, anywhere, and just say, you like us, file a review on our Facebook page, our Google My Business, or BBB, and then that's something they can have in their hand to remind them to file that review. Or even going on social media and saying, we love our customers and we love to hear from you, write a review here. But again, just making sure that those reviews are your actual customers. With BBB, we confirm it with you before any review gets published. So we'll say, hey, Mike, did Melanie buy this from you? Was she your customer? And if you said yes, we're like, okay, well, we have a positive review. And then we give you the opportunity to respond before we publish as well.
Okay, very cool.
So there's, I just have to double check on that. Offering an incentive for a positive review. I will look into that, and I'll get that information to Mike.
Cool. And I can follow up with you, Kristen. Awesome. Well, I think that is all the questions we have. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope this hour was valuable to you and provided insight on how to better manage your online reputation. I want to thank you, Melanie, for your time and sharing your expertise with us today. I'd also like to thank Clarkson University and St. Lawrence University for their support in sponsoring this series. I encourage you to follow and like our Facebook page to stay up to date with what's happening at the Chamber and to register for our September webinar. The topic of that webinar will be released soon. We encourage you to view our other webinars in the Lunch and Learn series by going to slcchamber.org and clicking Archived Webinars. This webinar will be available to watch on demand in the next few days. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.